Hello everyone. The market is basically doing what the market does. But in today's video, it's obviously before market closes. What I really want to share with you guys is a few levels that will determine, in my opinion, continued market direction. So we're going to take a look at those levels on the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, and we're also going to take a look at these large tech stocks. Tesla continues to rally. Is Tesla going to see 500? GameStop is also up in the during the market hours. So we're going to take a look at all these things. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and let's get started. First and foremost, this is a chart of the S&P 500. First and foremost, in my opinion, if we get a close below 603 on the SPY, things are going to start multiplying lower. We have continuously shown not only resistance at this level, but once resistance was broken, it acted as support. 1, 2, 3, 4, and today's the fifth time that we are holding 603 as support. All throughout today, I'm sure if you guys were watching and feeling this price action, it's just been very, very, very weak. So we obviously had a big bounce earlier in the morning, but since then, every single time we hit to a level of resistance, we failed. And then the past few hours, it was just a slow bleed lower. Now, we do have FOMC statement and the FOMC press conference tomorrow. But price action like this is definitely not good heading into a meeting, essentially, where it's almost a guarantee that we're going to get a rate cut. Now, the reason why I say that this 603 level is going to be very important is because on the daily time frame, once again, it's a major level of support. And then the risk reward starts to favor bears, especially if you start closing below a major level of support, because going long into weakness is generally it is something that you tend to do during an uptrend. But if the main issue now is that there's a large amount of different tech stocks that have been bouncing off of levels of support. Okay, let's just paint a picture here. Apple has been bouncing, Tesla has been bouncing, Nvidia, AMD have all been bouncing off of the lows. What is going on with the SPY, however? The SPY is continuing to show weakness. Now, the reason why that's an issue is because even as these stocks are showing strength, they're starting to show some bullishness off of the bottoms here. The SPY is still showing weakness. And it goes to show that these stocks need to really, really rally for a bullish move in the SPY to occur. Do I think that's going to happen? Maybe. But very, very simply, this 602.50, 603 level on the SPY, if you start closing below that level, just in terms of day trading, right? Because what we do is we day trade, and we lean either long or short for the day based on larger time frames as well. So if we start to break below major levels of support, day trading wise, we're going to be leaning short. We're going to be looking for levels of resistance, and we're going to be shorting those levels of resistance. And especially then, once you break below 602, that's when multiplication to the downside is going to really occur. That's when bears are going to really start stepping in. Right now, today, you just saw a lack of bulls. It was a slow drift lower. Once you start breaking below major levels of support, that's when you're going to start seeing a lot of aggressive bearish moves to the downside. Especially, we have GDP numbers coming out Thursday, and then we have the FOMC coming out tomorrow. Once those two things finish, then it becomes really, really difficult. And if the market is below 602, 603, it becomes very, very difficult for people to be extremely, extremely bullish. Now, that is the major level on the S&P. The other main issue and a warning sign for the overall market is that the VIX is skyrocketing. The VIX is very, very important to monitor because it has an inverse relationship to the market. If the VIX is strong, generally that means that the overall market is going to be weak. You clearly see the VIX bounced off of this level of support at $13, and it's now up 5% for the day. it is at 1550. So this is clearly, definitely not a good sign for bulls. Now, it becomes a bit easier to look at the upward potential on the VIX because we have a bit more solid levels of resistance. So 1630 is going to be a major level of resistance on the VIX. So yes, we have a bit more room to go on the VIX comfortably, in my opinion. And that would coincide with the SPY essentially trading somewhere between 601, 602 area. If that ends up occurring, the VIX can start to really, really multiply up, and the SPY can start to really, really multiply down. I don't know if that's going to end up happening, and it all really, really depends on whether these large tech stocks can continue showing strength. But what I do know is if we comfortably trade below this level of support here, then a lot of bears are going to start leaning short with this level here as a stop loss. So if we get a close below this level here, bears are going to wait for a retest of resistance, and they're just going to continue looking for more shorts. And then the 590, 593 level becomes a target to the downside. We're also seeing negative breadth in the market. We're also seeing the NASDAQ taking a hit, regardless of how well these other large tech stocks are doing. The NASDAQ is also still taking a hit. It is still red for the day. So if you just simply look at this, we gap down lower, and it's showing an inside day red candle. It's not the most bullish situation, but if the NASDAQ closes below 531, then the downside potential is really, really going to be there. And just looking at it from a risk-reward standpoint, looking at it from a sentiment standpoint, the majority of people are leaning long at the moment. Longs are starting to become aggressive for calling out people that are trying to short. Generally, when people become aggressive and become rude, or they're late to the party, they're trying to go long into all-time highs on gaps up. And generally, when things like this on Tesla occurs as well, usually this sort of move in the market does not sustain itself. And this sort of momentum-driven behavior with people's emotions and everything also does not sustain itself. If we have positive news on FOMC and we rally into new highs again on Tesla and everything, it becomes very, very difficult to continue to lean long, because especially on Tesla. So if we have a bullish move on Tesla, we could get tomorrow after hours or into Thursday, Tesla can see 520, but then it becomes really, really difficult to continue leaning long on Tesla. Once Tesla starts to pull back, the overall market is going to pull back. And one thing that you need to take into consideration is if Tesla is majorly red for the day, you have to lean short and you have to be bearish the overall market. If Tesla in the next few days is down 7 or 8%, you have to lean short, and you have to be bearish on the overall market for that day. Of course, buying dips, things of that nature, works out. You could buy dips for longer term, but in the meantime, right now, this is what's going on. And the last thing that I want to show you guys is we're starting to skyrocket into the junk and TLT. So we're going to get a better understanding of how the bonds are going to be affected into tomorrow with the meeting and everything. But this is generally not a really good sign that we're rallying like this on the junk TLT. Because usually, as we rally, this tends to become very bearish for the overall market. And if we break this high and we start to really just continue to rally on the junk TLT, this is going to start being very bearish, in my opinion, for the overall market. So the VIX, the large tech stocks, Tesla topping out, really all that we have left to really hope for at the moment is, are these losers going to bounce? Is Nvidia, AMD, things of that nature, are they going to bounce? Are Apple's at 250. Is Apple going to be able to stagnate and give room for the losers to also catch up? and Meta, Netflix, these stocks are stagnating. Amazon is also stagnating. Google and Microsoft are Google is it's still strong, but then Microsoft is also strong as well. What is really going to be a determining factor, given the fact that these large tech stocks are still bullish, but the NASDAQ is bearish, the S&P is bearish, what needs to end up happening now is, are these losers, AMD, NVIDIA, going to be able to pull the market up? That is yet to be seen. But the fact that these stocks are up, Google, Microsoft, these other large tech stocks are up, yet the market is down, that is not a bullish sign. The fact that the VIX is up aggressively as well, and it's holding above support, it broke above 14.50 and it's above $15 now, that's also not bullish. And we have to take that into consideration. All of this can change with the blink of an eye. Powell can say something tomorrow, and we'll just continue ripping upwards. That could still happen. But according to just what we see technically, if there was no Powell tomorrow, and if there was nothing going on, no news, this would be really, really tough to be long, in my opinion. Like, not tough to be long. Obviously, I'm still going to be buying dips. For example, we bought some longer term calls. So it's not a matter of being tough to be long. It's just a matter of in the short term, once you really break below these levels, then we can start to multiply lower. And then the upper 590s into the mid 590s is on the table. It feels like what it feels like in the market right now is the majority of people don't even believe that we can break below 600. That's the vibe that I'm getting currently in the market. And that is generally a topping signal. When the whole market doesn't believe that there could be a pullback, when the whole market becomes aggressive and rude towards people that are bearish, time and time again, that has always been an indication of either a market top or a market bottom. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you've been watching this entire time, I love you and I really, really appreciate you. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. Thank you.